Hey sis, did you see the good news? Are you gonna join in so that you can see some really ugly tears? Ugly happy tears. Hi Joanne. Hey Karen. So, hey Vesta. So if you haven't seen the live I shared on my personal page and right here on the Chirpy Card Maker of Quilts, I'm going to try and do this without crying, but we've got babies hatching. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess. I'll be going out once the live is over. I had a shift scheduled anyway, and so I'll be going out. I am just so happy. These are not sad tears. I am so happy. And I've never been so proud to be a part of something so important. To be with a group of people who cared so much about these birds and to give them a chance. I'm just really proud, and that's why I'm crying. But these are happy tears, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to break the news without crying. So I am sorry. I'm sorry. But, oh, it's just a really happy day. It's what we've been waiting for, and so far 2 of the 4 eggs have hatched. If you watch the live video that I shared, I think you can see the babies. When the parents get up, you can see the baby plovers. So if you haven't watched it yet, take a few minutes to watch it, and you'll understand why I am a hot mess right now. So, oh, I'm so sorry, but there's a whole bunch of aunts and uncles right now that are just on cloud 9. So, thanks everybody for understanding. Whew. Get myself together so that we can get through this live. So, happy Thursday. I hope your Thursday is going well for you. I had planned a very simple card for this situation because we knew that within days these chicks were going to be hatching. I was out for 4 hours early in the morning yesterday and was hoping that it would happen yesterday, but you know, we knew it was probably going to be July 1st or 2nd. So at 7:44, I think this morning, the first pip from the egg, the executive director of Black Swamp Bird Observatory, she deserved to be the first one to see it. She has put in so much hard work to get a volunteer program together to watch over these nesting birds, and she got to see the beak of the very first egg break through the shell. So yeah, big, just a really huge thing. I won't keep going on and on about it. I get crazy and distracted over birds easily. So, but I've got a simple card, and what inspired this card was I had seen something on Pinterest, and it sparked how I love the part of quilting that I really, really enjoy is when you gather your fabrics and you kind of just like throw them down and you see what works well together. Well, the inspiration I saw on Pinterest was just that. It reminded me of if I threw a whole bunch of fat quarters down on the table, this is how they fell, and just the whole orientation of the card I really, really liked. And it's simple, but we're not just gonna stick with simple because these charm squares have some pop. And so what I'll do is I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you what I mean. So hold on. I always think that I'm going to flip this the wrong way, so hold on. Okay. All of the cutting instructions were posted last night. And I even had some pictures with that so that you could see, have a picture to go along with the text. So here, I'm going to try and get a little bit closer. Hold on, don't get dizzy on me. Maybe that's not going to work very well. Whoops, excuse my hand. I'm just going to, there we go. We're just going to push something. This is the new July host code. It's already a new month, and you might have seen that there's 9 designer series papers that are on sale, 15% off. I posted that on my page. You know what I'm getting here is a shadow from, I had to plug in my phone charger. Let's see if I can't just somehow hook this out of the way. Sorry about that. Okay, there, it's out of the way. So this is what I mean by, you just throw your charm squares or your fat quarters down, and you just start playing and picking and choosing what you want to go together. So this is the easiest version right here. So when you open it up, it's just blank inside. We're going to decorate, we're going to finish off the back of our card with some designer series paper. But if you want to step it up a little bit, in the cutting directions, there were some smaller swatches of these are 2.5-inch charms, and there was some smaller swatches. So what you could do is to give it a little bit of interest on the inside. And see here, I just changed my papers around. But you could throw down your little swatches on the inside. This would be a really cute card to send to a quilter or a sewer, because it could just look like, little swatches of fabric. And I don't have a pair, but what would really make this really, really cute is if you had pinking shears, and you could do the edges of your charm squares to have that pinking shears look. So I'll throw that out there too. So before you get started, you might have some more ideas on what you want to do with your cards. And now, here's where our charms are going to have some pop, and it'll explain some of the other pieces that I had you cut. So, ta-da! A little pop-up. We're going to make this little box here that's going to create the pop-up. Here I matted those little charms, and that's where the cardstock squares come into play. So you can keep it simple, or you can give it some pop. What do you think? Here's, this one is the, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to cheat. Polished pink? I can't even think straight, you guys. I am so sorry. But anyway, here's here the squares aren't just, kind of like randomly tossed on there. They have more of a stacked look. And then one other one that I did, if you don't want to use the mini charms, with this designer series paper, the pansies, I fussy cutted some of the pansies out of the 12 by 12 paper and put those on the inside, just to give you another option or idea on what you can do. Okay, I'm going to check my comments real quick. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they're a little slower to pop up on my laptop, but it's going to be okay. Okay, so I'm glad that you enjoy this card. This really will be good for any designer series paper collection that you have. I wanted to use my pansy paper, and it just so happens that it's one of the collections that is 15% off during the designer series paper sale. We're not doing any embossing. We're not doing anything fancy. This is just, we're going to start out with all the simple components, and then we will move to the pop-up. And you can decide if you like it simple and you don't want to do the pop-up, that's fine. These will make some really quick and easy card. Well, whoops, not the pop-ups, but a really quick and easy card that you can send. So if you have a whole bunch to do, you could do these really, really quick. Okay, so let's get started. I am working with the Pale Papaya. So I've used all the new in colors. I've got Pale Papaya here. So our card base was 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So let's give our crease, get a really nice crease here. Okay, so there's our card base. Now we have 2 pieces of Whisper White, 4 by 5 1/4, and I stamped my sentiment down in the lower left-hand corner. Right now, let's go ahead and let's put the blank one down on the inside. And you just want to leave a nice even border around your edges. And then let's take our piece of designer series paper that was cut at 4 by 5 1/4 and let's put that on the back. I'm really liking using up some of my designer series paper on the back of my card. I got to make room for new designer series paper. The mini catalog will be coming out. I ordered catalogs today, so if you are in need of the July to December mini catalog and the brochure for Celebration, which will start in August also, then let me know. I ordered catalogs today and I can pop them in the mail to you. So while I've got the back here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue on my button. This Pale Papaya really gives this card a very cottage feel, especially with this print here from the Pansy Designer Series paper. Okay, so let's go to the front. And here is our stamped portion of that card front. And I'm going to bring in my 2 1/2 inch charm squares, okay? And what we want to do, we're just going to lay them out and try to come up with a pattern that we like. I know this might really date me, but do you remember back in, I don't know if it was like the late 80s, maybe early 90s? But remember when neon colors were really popular? I loved orange and pink together. I thought it was just the most awesome combination. So I love this orange, and I like it with the pink. So what I'm doing is I am just putting my squares in place, and I'm playing with if I like where my diamond is sitting, because we're doing this on an angle. Now you could cover up this bottom corner if you wanted. You could move your squares down. But again, I wanted the feel of I just tossed these charm squares down onto my workspace. So I'm going to leave it right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold these squares in place, and I'm going to bring a pencil in. And I'm going to lightly trace where my paper is. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm doing this so that I know where to keep my glue inside of these drawn lines, so I don't like put glue too far on the back side of my charm squares. So and it's very faint, so once I have that done, now I'm going to come in with my glue, and I'm going to put really thin bead around the outside, getting close to the edge. But I don't want a whole lot of it, because it'll end up, oh my, did you just see what I did? Julie. Okay. I didn't stay within my line. I went right up there to the corner, because I forgot where I was at. I couldn't see it very well. Thank goodness for a adhesive eraser. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to take it off. And now once you have your lines, then you just want to swiggle in some glue to hold all your charm squares down. Okay. And then I'm going to come back, and however you had decided where you wanted them to be, I'm just going to use those lines, and I'm going to go just a little bit above and to the outside, just so that I know I've got that pencil mark covered up. And I am just going to put down my charm squares again. Make sure those seams are butted up to each other. Make sure your corners come to a really nice point there. And so now we have our charm squares down onto our card front. And then what we're going to do is we are going to trim off the excess. Now, you do a couple of these, you'll have some extra triangles left over that you could put in places if you don't want to cut more charm squares. You can reuse some that you had cut off, because maybe you don't want the white showing here. Maybe you want to continue your charm squares off of the base here, and all you have showing is your greeting. So I am going to just come in with my adhesive eraser, and I am going to remove. It's gone. The sticky liquid glue is gone. I ordered this off of Amazon, but if you have a super Dollar Tree, they have adhesive erasers in there, and they're only $1. So let's bring in our trimmer, and we'll cut off the excess here. See how easy this is? I mean, if you're not wanting to do the pop-up, this card is basically done once you put this on the front. So I'm just going to line up the edge of my base with my cutting line, and take off the extra here. And I save my triangles that I'm cutting off because they can be used in other projects or onto the next card, and I wouldn't have to cut another charm square. Okay, so here we've got it all trimmed up, and look how pretty that is. Look how cute that is. So that is ready to go on our front. I just thought that this was a way to really use up some designer series paper and still be, you know, really, if you need a whole bunch of cards really quick, you could do that. Think about your Christmas cards. The new mini catalog that's coming out has some more Christmas designer series paper. So think about this design for Christmas cards maybe. So let's put that. Just want to move it a little bit. That's the good thing about the liquid glue. You've got time to reposition. So here's the front and back of our card. Now when we're all done, I'm going to bring in the 2021, 2023 in color jewels and put a little bling on the front. So here, you could say, I'm good, I'm done. You could stamp a greeting on the inside. Or if you just wanted to use the little swatches that you could just kind of throw those on. And again, pinking shears would just totally make this adorable. I wish I had some. But let's step it up a notch and let's create the box that's going to help this as a pop-up. But you know, before we do that, let's just glue on our little swatches to the cardstock. Let's just go ahead. These remind me of little inchies. I'd always wanted to make inchies. I had a Pinterest board that was full of ideas and never got around to it. And then as soon as I get this done, I do want to look over at the laptop and see if I've missed any questions. You can, you'll know out of all of this what it is that, you know, if you're happy with just staying with the very simple part of the card, you can do that. But to learn how to make this little box for future pop-up cards, you don't necessarily have to put it in this one, but you may want to use it for another card that you do in the future. Okay, so there we have our little swatches. We're just going to set those aside for right now. Now this is the 3.5 by 4 piece of cardstock that you scored at 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 inches, 2.25 inches, and 3. I know it's hard to see the score lines on this really light paper, but these are our score lines. Now before we start folding them, if you have your 3/4 inch score on your right, the third scored area and the fourth, that is where we would glue on our little strips of designer series paper, and these were cut at 5/8 by 3 7/8. So we could go ahead and just glue those on really quick. It's easier for me to glue them on before I start folding. Just leave a little tiny border all the way around. that. And the reason why we're not doing this to all of the sections is because when we fold this, these are going to be like the areas that are going to get glued to the bottom of our card and to the side. And so now we can put a nice crease there on those scored lines. As we'll get this box made, and then I will check comments, because it'll give whoever, if you're doing this along with me, it'll give you a chance to get all caught up. Now we're gonna I've been doing pretty good with just using the liquid glue right here, but if you had the Stampin' Seal Plus or the tear and tape, you could use it right here. But I've been getting by really okay with just using some glue. You want something that's going to hold really well. And so I'm going to bring this piece down and just fold this piece over, and then just hold that and let the glue take hold. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to jump over here real quick. Yes, Susan, Christmas cards. I'm thinking I might have found my design, but you know, we're probably going to see how many hundreds of more cards before Christmas that we're going to be like, oh no, that's the Christmas card I'm going to do. The size of the squares, Marilyn, the designer series paper is 1 1/8 inch square, and the cardstock behind it is 1 1/4 inch square. Okay, I think I'm caught up on. So here we have our little box. Now, these two plain sides, we'll end up putting in our box. What I'm doing is I'm lighting up the edge of this with my white, my piece of basic white. And I would put glue here, and I would put that down first and make sure it holds. And then when we get ready to do this side, we'll put some glue, and then we'll just flatten this out and bring our top over like that and make sure it holds. But right now, I just want to crease everything so that reinforce all these score lines so that when you close the card, that it's laying nice and flat. So just go ahead and work out those scored areas. You're kind of working the paper so that it'll fold really easy inside the card. Now, if you've got your little box flattened out with the two pattern pieces of paper, nope, we want to do it this way. Do it this way. Because this is the section that if you were going to glue down your mini charm squares, you could just, play with them. Do you want them random? Do you want them stacked? What kind of feel do you want to give them, that they're just tossed on there? And then just remember to put glue down just on the part of your mini charm that's going to be on top of this this section here. Oh, look at this. You could do a stacked diamond. In whatever order. Ooh, I wish I would have thought of that before I did the squares on that one. up with a design that you like, or if you want them going in all different directions like they were just tossed down there. So you could get those. You know what, let's just, I think what we're going to do before I do that, I'm going to glue and I'm going to put this right along the white edge of my basic white. That's, you don't want to put this all the way to your crease here in your card because you have to leave some room for the bulk. So we'll just put that down like that. And then while that's drying, I could just play with this some more. I'm really kind of liking the diamonds. And you don't want it going beyond your card. So I think I'll start with this, and I just want some glue in that corner right here. Trying to hold these in place so that because it never fails, it never goes back for me the way that I had it arranged. So I'm trying to keep them all right here. Again, put some right here. Like that. And then like that. And one more. Let's put that one like right there. Just want to make sure that your glue doesn't come out the other side. We're good. That's why I only put the glue right here in the corners. And now what I'll do is I'm going to put glue on this cardstock side. Don't get it too much on the outside here because we don't want it to come out and then stick to our designer series paper. So keep it back. Close your front and just press. Did you hear that little stick? And then when you, whoops, it didn't take hold yet. I just gotta push it down some more. Like I said, I've had luck with the liquid glue, but if you want to use tear and tape or the Stamp and Seal Plus, you can do that. You just want something that's going to hold really nice. We all know that when this glue takes hold, it's hard to get things apart without destroying it. And so there's our pop-up. And if you want, you can just kind of bend that to break down those fibers a little bit more so that it closes really nice. And of course, the card that I'm doing in front of you wants to give me a little bit of a fit, but I did all those other ones with no problem. So there's our pop-up. And you could write something in here. You could stamp something in there, but it kind of gives that little shadow box type feel. And so now we have just stepped up our simple charm pack, our charm squares, and we have dressed it up by making it a pop-up card. And then I was just going to go in and finish it with some of these jewels. I'm going to take my putty end of my Take Your Pick tool and Just got to think of what color I want to use. I think I'm going to stick with the soft succulent. I'm going to put one right there in the middle where all my corners come together. You know, you could fussy cut one of those pansies and put it right there in the middle too. And then working in threes, I'm just going to put 2 more down in a our eyes like a triangle feel, and then put maybe this one down here. So thanks so much. And wouldn't this be cute if it said "sew" as S-E-W? Thanks so much. And you've got charm squares here and mini charms on the inside. But that's just a way to step up what started out as a very simple card. So we had simple, a little stepped up, and then we popped it up. We really stepped it up with this, with the pop-up. So what do you think? Oh, you're welcome, Vesta. I'm glad that you had a chance to watch. Susan says she can't do all of her ideas. Hello. Les Tony, is that a combination of names, or do you prefer one over the other? I'm glad that you liked it. It is something different, but it's quick, and like I said, the information or the inspiration really came from some fabric that was laid out that I saw on Pinterest, and it just reminded me that when I sew, how much fun I have laying out the fabrics to see what works well with each other. And sometimes just letting them fall where they may sometimes works out beautifully. Oh, good. Thanks, Karen and Lisa. It keeps... What are all the little squares for? Okay, Sharon, the little squares were just little mini charm squares, just to dress up the inside of your card. And then when I put the Designer Series paper squares on the solid cardstock, it was just to mat them and help them stand out a little bit more from the Designer Series paper that you would use to put them down on. It's just a design element. I didn't even use, you wouldn't even have to cut the bigger square here if you're just going to put your mini charms down on the inside. You wouldn't have to cut the bigger cardstock piece that you were going to mat it on. Just different design elements. That's what they're for. But thank you for asking. Let's see. Now, why does it want to highlight? Hi, Mary. How are you? Hey, Doris. Oh, thank you, Karen. Yeah, Donna. I just was done fussy cutting by the time I did, because I am not the best fussy cutter. Where is the one with the pansies? I'm not the best fussy cutter. So by the time I did those, I was like done. I probably should invest in the dies if I feel that I'm gonna use this a lot. But yes, you could put a whole like group of pansies here and some leaves for the greenery around it and lay that right on in the middle of your charm squares. So you can dress this up in so many ways. But I really like that once I trimmed off the excess, just how, for me, this is clean and simple. It gives me all the quilt and fabric feel that I want out of my card. and it not have to contain a lot of steps to do it. So I'm glad that you guys like this card. I really see that it could help me use up some designer series paper, especially, you know, not only the squares, but when we dress up the back of our card. A lot of card backs just get forgotten. You sign the back or you put your little button on the back and that's it. But I really like the look of when you turn your card over, it just looks more finished. So if whatever design you're doing, bring the paper over to the back. And you wouldn't even have to do a full piece. You could make it part of it and use your border dies and give it some movement. Just different things. But I think the backs of cards need some attention too. So that's the card for today. So what I'll do is I will look at all the comments that were shared today and even some shares, and I'll draw a name tomorrow, and I will send you a pop-up card. So that'll get done tomorrow. Oh, I just saw something that I wanted to read. Joanne says I trace first before fussy cutting using... Oh. You know, my thing, Joanne, with fussy cutting is, you know, they say that, you know, put your paper in your scissors, and instead of moving the scissors, move the paper. Now what I'm doing is I've got to control my non-dominant hand and I always just want to go with my dominant hand as taking care of everything instead of just, I just got to get it to where I feel coordinated enough that I can let my left hand move the paper. And that just comes with practice. So one more thing before we go is, again, I wanted to show the July block of the month barn quilt card kit. And this is, the theme is Come Sail Away. We have our sailboat, and then here, this is the snail's tail quilt block, but I've got it looking like a wave. Here's the white cap. I know I describe it because I'm hoping that you see what my intent was by making the snail's tail a wave. So here I have my white cap as it's rolling in, and I wanted to have some sunshine, so that's why I used the Daffodil Delight here. But if you wanted to put pool party all the way over here and just look like total sky with your wave, you can do that too. But I wanted to pull in the Daffodil Delight and be my sun. So this is the card kit. The card kit is $10, and you get everything that you need to make 2 cards, and a PDF comes with it, and then I do a Facebook Live at the end of the month, and we all gather on Facebook just to put the blocks together if you haven't already done them before that happens. And if you're interested in the card kit, all you have to do is simply message me, and I will put you down on the list. And around the 9th or the 10th of July, you will get an email. I'm going to send the invoice through PayPal. You do not have to have a PayPal account. You can take care of the invoice under a guest. And then around the 14th, I mail out the card kits. So just message me and let me know that you want your name down. And now that I'm switching over to PayPal, there will be a feature where this can go out as a reoccurring invoice. You do not have, if you get the invoice for a month that you don't want, then just don't take care of the invoice. And after 3 months, if there, this isn't for you, when I see 3 months that there's no activity, then the names will drop, your name will drop off the list. But you can simply come back and when there's a month that you like to do. I'm just trying to save myself some time and let technology keep track of who is interested, and letting technology help me with labels and reminders, and instead of doing everything by hand. So don't let the reoccurring invoice make you think that you're locked in, because you are not. I do not want anything that is locked in, because I know for myself that from month to month things change. For a lot of people, they're like, oh good, I don't have to remember to remind her that I want it. They know that invoice is going to come. And like I said, if you want the kit, fine. If you don't, ignore the invoice. So I'm just trying to make some paperwork easier for me. The card kits have been very popular, and it grows every month. And I just need to work smarter instead of harder. And so I'm going to let technology help me with that. So, Sheila, hello. And I don't know what that means. Oh. Okay. Maybe there's a conversation going on there that I just haven't read all of the comments, so I'll figure it out here later. So there's the block of the month card kit. Again, this was the Charm Pack quilt card. Easy. Then we've got it a little bit more dressed up. And then we go right into popping up our mini charm squares. Or you could fussy cut whatever motif that you're using in your cards, whatever paper you're using. You could fussy cut some of the design and put it on the inside. So that's today's. I want to thank everybody for joining me. And I want to thank you for sitting through my happy tears in the beginning. I'm better now, but I can tell you, as soon as I go out to the beach and get among all the volunteers who have taken watch, that nest has been watched 24/7 since the first egg was laid on May 10th. There are agencies, wildlife agencies at night with night vision there to keep an eye out for predators. And then there's been volunteers from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, giving their time and watching these. Oh, here I go again. Here comes the waterworks. But it's such a cool thing. And I know that there's going to be lots of tears shed as soon as I hit the beach and get among all of the great people that I've been spending time with, to make sure that Nish and Nellie's nest was as successful as it can be. The hard part starts now, trying to keep track of little chicks who want to run all over the beach. Gulls will be a threat. Gulls will want to pick them off. Crows, your large wading birds like egrets and herons. So until they can fly in 3 weeks, mom and dad will fight for them to the end if they have to. There's a lot of big birds who that little plover must be like having a little dog, the little mightiness that's in them. The bigger birds will end up just getting like, this isn't worth it, and they'll leave. But there's a lot of dangers now. There's gonna be some heartbreak. The average survival rate for them is 1 out of 4. So, but you know, we know that Nish, who's the daddy, he and his 2 sisters made it. So it doesn't always mean that only one chick is going to survive till they can fledge. We're just going to give them every possibility to make it, and that they can go to Florida here in about 3 to 4 weeks and spend their winters there, and then come back next year and hopefully do this all over again. So thank you for bearing with me when I share my love of birds, and especially this little family. I do appreciate it. So I will see everybody next Thursday, but don't be surprised if I share some lives with you from the beach and updates on our little plover family. I'll see everybody later. Bye.